OGaccountability.com.
We're back. You can see Jake's had a little bit of a wardrobe change. I keep it 60 degrees in here.
Is it still 60 degrees in here? Because I thought it started to feel a little bit warmer.
It's probably 66 right now.
Okay.
Which honestly, I don't know how I'm not in a jacket. You know, I'm one of those blood thinners, so I'm cold all the time.
Yeah. I was freezing. But I feel good.
Yeah, it feels good.
It's hotter outside though too, so I didn't know if that was heating the place up. But
it very well may be. It just may be my overwhelming personality. It's the warmth of my voice, the softness.
Today we're going to be talking about humility in this session.
Yeah. Well, you need to be more humble, brother. No.
I learned that you pronounce Humble, Texas as
Humble,
Texas.
Humble, yeah.
I'm learning all kinds of stuff on this trip.
You also know that humble is known as a tascosita.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Which is a Spanish word that means, no, it's a Indian.
Yeah.
Indian trail.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I'm on blood thinners, got a massive blood clot. And
still going to the gym.
Probably shouldn't. Matter of fact, I have a girlfriend of mine. She's an amazing woman. She had a blood clot. Ended up having a stroke because that's where strokes come from.
Wow.
And had to have her leg amputated. Lost her leg to a blood clot. So when she found I had a blood clot, she's like, you need to be at home taking it easy. If that breaks loose and goes up to your brain or your lung or your heart, you're going to have some problems.
Yeah, it's a big deal. And then you text her back and you said, yeah, but it's chest day. Sorry.
Yeah. And since I have damaged legs, I'm not doing legs, so I'm not worried about it. But, you know.
I did say that to you today at the gym.
You did.
You're like, yeah, I can't do legs because my blood clot. I'm like, well, that's not so bad.
Yeah.
Skip leg day.
And I've really not been able to work out legs since my accident because my left leg won't grow. It's atrophied from the damage. So if I do work out legs, my right leg gets
swole.
And it looks awkward.
Yeah.
So I just and I've only had like 2 people ever make comments like, you skipping leg day, bro? And I'm like, well, first of all, I got a question. There's 25 beautiful women here, and you're staring at my legs? What is wrong with you? It's good to see you sit around and judgment all day. That is the humility coming out of me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I was going to say.
Yeah. It's a gift. It's a gift that keeps giving.
And you worked on it all by yourself.
All by myself, man. Yeah, we did hit the gym this morning. We did like a quick 25-minute workout. You feel it at all? I mean, you feel like you lifted it all?
Yeah, for sure. I mostly feel day 2 and 3.
Day 2 and 3.
But I was feeling it mid-workout.
Good deal.
Yeah.
Good deal.
It worked me over, man.
That was a very light workout. Very light workout.
I loved the arms.
Yeah.
The works that we were doing there.
Yeah, that's a good arm workout. There's a third part to it, but taking it easy because I kind of like to not die.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good approach. I really liked that isometric curl.
Yeah,
I really like that.
It does a big deal. I think men have to be tough all the time. Like, you ever been around somebody like, there's a guy and he's in his 70s. He's like, I never went to the doctor. I'm like, yeah, but your hand's withered.
Yes.
You can't walk. You can't stand up straight.
Or I never wore earplugs. Or I never wore a mask when I was working in the factory. Yeah. Or
well, look at you now.
Yeah, right. You have lung cancer.
Are you really that tough, or are you stupid?
Right.
Men are stupid. Women.
We need you.
But I'm going to tell you
the
crazy thing. This show is for men.
Yeah.
But the demographic that I see is watched by just as many women as men.
No kidding.
Yeah, it's wild.
Well, but you've had women guests on.
That's right. Yeah, I've had
sense.
Yeah, and I got a couple more lined up, and it's good to hear. It's good to hear from women. It's women bring such a different perspective than men. Women are smarter than men.
Oh, for sure.
They not just more compassionate, and
they're just more dynamic.
Absolutely.
We're so boring.
Yeah,
we could sit here, talk, eat steak, and watch football. In the grand scheme of life, that's pretty bland.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think you just hit it out of the park.
Yeah.
Women bring the spice of life, the variety, and yeah.
Yeah, my wife has spiced up my life, man. I tell you.
P.S. We are not mansplaining women right now.
No, wouldn't dare.
I've been in this situation a couple times where, like, talking to a girlfriend or something, and I'm trying to explain something to her, especially about like being a dad or having a daughter and look over and they're just like, "You're really telling me this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no, I'll shut up. I'm a big dumb animal. I'll
go ahead."
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Yeah. So, men are different, man. And the funny thing is, and I'm sure you'll find out, you visit a lot of places, men are different in different areas. Like you come to Texas, most men are a little different. When I'm in Texas, the way I talk to guys and I go up to other places, they talk differently. They respond differently. I grew up in a very country town, and like I share with you, a lot of the guys at Huffman Church, at our church, they're very manly men. Like there's no sissies there, and
I believe that.
And it's
except for Keith.
Except for Keith. Bro, I'm telling you, if you piss Keith off, that guy would be like a buzzsaw. I would not ever want to make this guy mad.
This guy's pit gloves got stolen.
Oh,
and he was so angry about him. That kind of guy you don't want to mess with.
You don't want to mess with. Yeah. Oh, he was hot. They stole my gloves.
The only reason I'm picking on Keith is because you started it.
That's right. Oh, he's gonna continue it on tomorrow. Trust me.
Wonderful.
Keith doesn't forget anything.
That's awesome.
He's a pistol, man. He's a great guy. We got a church full of great people.
Yeah.
And we got a town full of great people, great men. I mean, this is a great position where we're at. And even though Huffman's changed a lot from when I was a kid, man, we still have great people. And when I look back at the patriarchs of this town, some of the men that I grew up around, those rough, tough, rugged men. And my dad was one of them. My dad was a go-getter. He didn't sit still. If you told him he couldn't do something, he's going to do it.
Yeah, and he was well-respected.
And well-respected.
In the community.
But also, I mean, just if this building needed to be tore down and he's the only guy who showed up, by the end of the day, that building would be tore down. That's the way we were raised. I mean, we were raised to be workers. To get the job done. We were raised to be honest, and somewhere along that way, we kind of found our own way of doing things. And I think every man's got to do that. They've got to find. We have example, but then we have to find our own way of doing it. Just like being a dad, through trial and error, I had to learn how to be Peyton's dad. I didn't have to teach her to be my daughter. I had to learn how to be her dad.
Wow.
And I think that's why her and I have such a
good point.
A great relationship. And at least I think we do. You may ask her, and she's like,
"No, you guys are awesome." I was telling you that yesterday.
Yeah, well, it's not about. I'm not bragging on me, but I can be in a room with her and know what she's thinking. Like if we're someplace and it gets a little weird or something, I'm like, "Yeah, she probably wants to get over here." And I can look all the way across the room, and she's like this, like, "I'm ready to go, Dad." And we have that bond, but I had to do it on purpose. I never had a girl. I was raised with all brothers. My God, we fist fought out in the yard. We were hellions. We put my mom through hell. We were like nonstop fighting.
Sure.
Literally. I mean, that's what siblings do.
Yeah.
And then I have this beautiful little girl, and it's like, no, I'm supposed to have a boy. I'm supposed to. It's going to be a boy. No, it was a girl. And it flipped me. It made me soft in some areas, made me harder in some areas too, but made me soft in some areas. And the areas that made me harder is it made me want to be more of a protector, made me more cognizant of what's going on around me. It really changes. But I think as men, we never like to discuss our weak areas. And you don't have to bask in them, but you got to acknowledge them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
You have to.
Yeah, it's the truth, right? They say that mold grows in the dark.
Yeah. There you go.
Put some light on that stuff.
Yeah, it's absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you can't talk with your inner circle, you need to find somebody that you have that outlet with, and hopefully it's your spouse. Yeah. I will say there were some areas in my life, and there was a lady who I started dating who I love dearly, and I opened up and shared to her some private things. And one day in a tiff, she threw back up in my face what I shared with her that I hadn't shared with anybody. And from that day forward, I never really opened up to her again. And it took about a good 4 months where she realized, you don't talk to me like you used to talk to me. I said, you lost that right with me.
No kidding.
And that's really how men are.
Yeah.
Women, if you're
betray trust, and
women need to hear that.
Yeah. Love is given freely without question. Trust is earned.
And there's different levels.
Lost.
Oh my God, we sound like Meet the Fockers. You're in that circle, Focker.
I haven't seen that movie so long.
I haven't either. Hey, by the way, I don't know if you've ever done this, but halfway through the last time you were talking, my ADD kicked in. You seem like you could do an excellent Barack Obama impersonation.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't. I'm so bad at impersonation.
Well, I was like,
I will practice though.
You should.
I will work on it
Right now.
I did not listen enough to Barack Obama to be able to give you a good impersonation.
Yeah. I was like, he seems like he could do that impersonation.
I'm trying to figure out if that's a compliment coming from you.
It was a compliment.
Okay.
It was a compliment.
Okay. He's a great speaker. Say what you want about him, policy, politics. Yeah. Great communicator.
Oh, okay. I just couldn't stand his cadence, how he talked.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
It always threw me off, but you're right. The guy's brilliant when it comes to speaking.
Yeah.
I mean, he's an excellent speaker. His wife, Michelle, they're going to delete this video now that I said that. I'll edit that out. She's a good speaker.
I don't think I've ever actually heard.
I've seen some things where she was talking to women. I mean, she knows how to motivate people. But that's what they did. That's how they started in Chicago. Maybe that's why I don't like Chicago that much.
We're getting to the root issue here.
But some great things have come out of Chicago. Pastor Andrew J. Willis, he's out of the southern.
He's from Chicago.
He's from Chicago, man.
No way.
The south side of Chicago.
Okay.
Which is the hood side of Chicago.
Yeah.
And some good things have come out of there. Yeah. Trying to think of them.
Sammy Sosa.
Well, yeah, we don't like Sosa down here, bro.
Oh, you don't?
No, the Cubbies. Yeah.
There was one era of baseball that I watched, being from Kansas City. The Royals were terrible my whole life, and they're terrible again.
George Brett?
He was before me.
Okay.
But my brothers and my sister loved
I just showed
George
my
Brett.
age.
Mike Sweeney was the guy.
Yeah.
He was the guy for
Absolutely.
For me. And then, as I got a little bit older, Zach Greinke, he was the guy. But then we had that stretch. What was it, 2015, 2016?
Y'all did.
When we lost to San Francisco.
Yeah.
Because they had, what's his face, the pitcher. It was crazy good. He's just...
I can see him.
He's a great guy, I guess.
Yeah.
Just a country guy, apparently. Oh, it's going to drive me nuts. Bumgarner? No.
I can see his face.
I don't remember. Anyway, but we lost to San Francisco, and then we beat the Blue Jays. Wasn't it Toronto in the World Series?
Canadians.
Yeah, nobody was probably watching because the Royals, but...
We have a thing in Texas. Everything north of the Red River, you're a Yankee.
North of the Red River. Where's the Red River?
It's on the border of Texas
and
Oklahoma.
That right? That sounds a little bit too specific. That's funny.
Yeah, we have a buddy of mine. He's from Iowa, and we'd always call him a Canuck.
A Canuck?
Yeah, a Canadian.
Okay.
Call him a Canuck. He's like, dude, I'm not Canadian. I'm like, you're north of. Some of us say north of Dallas, but
Okay, wow.
But
border changes. So what do you think? What do you think makes? Because today, there's a lot of gender confusion, right? And probably shouldn't get into all that. We don't want to have the video get cut off.
No, let's do it.
But what makes a man? What makes a man?
What makes a man?
Yeah.
Well, it starts at birth and conception. Basic biology, right?
Yes.
The science mattered with COVID, but the science doesn't matter when it comes to what? No, I'm kidding. But the science doesn't matter when it comes to gender. I gotta tell you.
Okay, so aside from gender, aside from genitalia and chromosomes, what makes a man? Would you say?
What makes a man is the masculinity, and not all men have masculinity. And I think that has a lot to do with their upbringing. I think it has a lot to do with who they surround themselves with. But the releasing of testosterone into a man's body, which happens, after some men, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yeah. To me, what makes a man is somebody that is driven, that does go on to have a family and says, I will do everything I can to protect and provide for this family. I'll fight any bear that comes onto my property. I'll be soft when I need to be soft, hard when I need to be hard, kind when I need to be kind, and correct when there needs to be correction. I will be a movable monument in my daughter's life. I'll always be a constant. Just as God is a constant in our life, I'm going to be a constant in her life. They give sound advice, sound love, because love can be, if it's not sound, sometimes people give love in the only way they know how. And you got to really be cognizant, especially when you're dealing with a female. I love and I talk to my nephews differently than I talk to my daughter. So what makes a man? Past the biology part, to me,
which should be guaranteed.
Which should be guaranteed. Yeah. But the real deciding factor is when you realize there's a God that's bigger than you are, and you submit yourself. I think being a man, the biggest thing of sign of power and confidence is when you can submit yourself to God, to a higher, to the higher power,
yes, yeah,
and say, you know what, I'm your dad, and I'm going to be here as long as I can. But there's somebody I answer to, and you may not know God like I know him. But I hope you see the life I live in my failures and mistakes and how I come through those, in my triumphs and successes. And I hope that breeds a love that you submit yourself to him as well.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my definition to me of what a real man is.
Man, I love it.
Trademarked.
And,
but no, I hope that was a good answer.
No, absolutely. I love it. I love it.
That was my
all
answer.
of it.
That's a man right there. It's a guy in his 70s. I just noticed his arms were tattooed. I had no clue.
Until right now?
Yeah. I had what a heathen.
Yeah, my Lord.
Like tattoos? My God.
I saw your back tattoo today.
Yeah, I got a back tattoo, a couple chest tattoos.
Yeah, we were doing back day today.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So I didn't get to see it. I only saw like the little outer edges of it. Is it Hebrew? I had no idea.
It's wings, angel wings.
Oh, okay. Close enough.
Yeah.
Both biblical.
It's barbed wire.
Okay.
I have some friends that got barbed wire when they're younger, and now they're like, why did I do that? I'm like, you can cover it up.
It was all Brian Urlacher. That's why.
Right?
He's the one that made it.
Yeah. I'm like, or you can get it removed.
Yeah, because that's the thing.
That is the thing.
Yeah.
I have some friends that had almost full arm sleeves, and if you pay close attention, you can see it, but in passing by, you can't really ever tell they had tattoos. So I have tattoos on my chest, and I got one for my daughter, my favorite scripture out of the Bible. I am my beloved, and he is mine. Man. And I remember when I first got my back tattoo, my family didn't know, and I was 24, 25. You can understand the way we grew up. If you get a tattoo, you're going to hell. And it was Thanksgiving, and we were all playing football, and it's Texas Thanksgiving, so it was like 80 degrees. And I took my shirt off, and I wasn't thinking. And
no!
And my dad's like, "What's that on your back?" And
Nothing.
Like, nothing, Dad. I said, "What's a tattoo?" Of course, I'm a man. He's just like, "Oh, okay." And then I realized it didn't bother him one bit.
Wow! Didn't flinch.
No, not at all. He's like, oh, "Okay." Well, good for you,
You're like, oh, maybe this isn't so.
I think that's what men do too. Not everybody has to be like me. You can live your own life and be your own person.
I think that's a massive mark of masculinity right there, is just being confident in who you are. Like I think the ultimate mark of a man, the ultimate measure of masculinity is Jesus.
Yeah.
He was think about it. I'm not just saying that because I'm a Christian, but if you just look at his life, he loved so well.
Yeah.
He also wasn't afraid of confrontation.
No, he wasn't.
And he would confront. He wasn't afraid of anybody, but he wasn't reckless.
Yeah.
He was meek. He was humble. He loved well.
Well, people have come up with a name for that. He was passive aggressive.
Oh, come on.
I'm like, shut your mouth. That's not passive aggressive. Passive aggressive is when you do things purposely to get somebody to respond so you can have a response back.
Yeah.
It's not passive aggressive when you ask somebody, "Hey, please don't do that."
Yeah.
"Hey, please don't do that." "Hey, I said don't do that." That's not passive aggressive. I gave you 3 opportunities not to do that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. What did he call the Pharisees that one time? Brood of vipers?
Yeah, he called them a generation of vipers.
Yeah. You call that passive aggressive?
Yeah, that and
he knew that they were going to arrest him and kill him. But
guess
he said
what?
it anyway.
that was before social media. He had to do it to them, hit their face.
Yeah, it's the truth. Yeah. It wasn't a keyboard warrior.
Like in the 80s, if we wanted to diss somebody, we had to go find them.
And then diss them.
And then diss
and
them.
make sure your friends were there.
Absolutely.
And make sure their friends were there.
Somebody's got to witness this.
Yeah, for sure.
But now we just sit behind a screen.
That's true.
But
But man, Jesus did not run from anything. He was in the garden. He knew what was coming. He didn't run away.
No.
You know, anyway, I just think he's perfect example.
And even when he didn't want to do it,
Yeah.
he said, "No, I'm going to do it. If it's
Yes.
possible, let it not happen. But nevertheless, your will." And I think that's submitting right there.
Yes, exactly what you said earlier.
Yeah.
Submitting yourself to God, which is what he did.
We submit ourselves to certain things. We don't even realize we are. We submit ourselves to the laws of the land. We don't murder. And guess what? That's been a biblical principle all the way since Exodus, Deuteronomy. I mean actually since Cain and Abel. It's like, hey, don't kill somebody.
Yeah, right.
And we submit ourselves to that. Hey, don't steal. Even now, punishable by law. Hey, don't lie. You can go to court, and if you lie, you still get in trouble. I mean, so we have these biblical principles that we've had forever, and then now we think our feelings trump what I feel.
Yeah.
Well, I don't care how you feel.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Yes.
Don't do it.
Yes. And men know how to rise above feelings and to do what they need to do, not what they want to do.
Yeah.
And I suck at that. Like I'm not great at
Same
that
here.
at all.
Oh yeah.
At all. But there are some times where I do a good job, but I need to increase that.
It's like my golf. So I'm part of a golf group.
Okay.
And
of course you are.
We send memes back and forth. The funny thing is, anybody who's listening, if you get a meme from me, it means two things. I'm either going to the bathroom or I'm like in a waiting room.
Okay. All right. You're sitting down.
Yeah, I'm sitting down.
Yeah.
That if you get a meme from me, that's when it is. But that's when I check all my memes.
Okay.
So if you get like 6 memes in a row, it's because I'm going through like my Rolodex of people stuff sent me, and it's normally all golf stuff. But I got sent this one, and it's the quintessential, no baby, I'm going to golf and I'm only going to have 1 beer. And then it shows the guy walking in, he's stumbling and falling all over the house. As men, I think a lot of times we start off with great intentions, but we learn a lot of times it depends on who we are around. Just like we have that locker room mentality with certain guys, we talk different ways. There's certain people you can have, well, no, baby, I'll be home at 9 o'clock. No, you're not going to be home at 9 o'clock. Why'd you even say that?
Sure.
There's just certain things in life that these disclaimers that we put out there as men. I hate disclaimers.
Yeah.
Babe, I really love you, but no, don't start with the disclaimer.
Just tell me.
Just tell me how you feel.
Well, that's because your dad always told you that.
Absolutely.
No stories, just give me the facts.
Give me the facts.
Yeah.
I can handle the facts. Matter of fact, when you don't give me the facts, I feel disrespected.
Wow.
Like, if you can't tell me the truth.
If you have to skirt around it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
lay it on me.
And then I have people like, you're a jerk. And I'm like, because I told you how I felt and the truth? That makes me a jerk?
Yeah.
And then they're like,
did you want me to sugarcoat it?
Wow, actually, yeah. No, you're not a jerk. Like, I'm like, you didn't have to like take 15 minutes and pull this out of me. Women, like, what's wrong, babe? Nothing, I'm fine.
But so how do you do that? Because you're a pastor.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you effectively? I've been a pastor for the last several years as well, and I would love to hear how you do this, because in Christianity, men, this is not true of everyone at all, but dude, a lot of Christian men are really just soft.
And the women run,
and the women are strong.
have to pick up all the slack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm curious how you go about, how do you, I've found that I have to do the sandwich effect, where it's like, okay, I need to tell this guy that the reason his life is not going the way he wants it to is because he never spends time in the Word of God. He never prays. I mean, that's just a good place to start, but he never does those things. That's the problem. So I have to tell him that. But I realized if I just told him that, he would get offended and leave, and then his life wouldn't change. So I found that I needed to kind of preface with something to kind of like, I mean, I'm trying to love the guy. So
yeah.
you're the sandwich method, right? Like, okay, something positive, correction, and then something positive. But it sounds like for you, you're just like, hey, you probably need to read your Bible and pray more. That's your problem. How have you found, it's a long way to ask a question, but how have you figured out how to communicate truth while still communicating in love?
I really think it depends on who I'm talking to and the level I know you. Because once again, I may go to the golf course and I talk about things with my wingman on a deeper level than I'll talk with some guy I don't really know. So it really depends on the level I know you and your level of maturity. But one of the great things I do when somebody's dealing with crisis or an ongoing, failure, and they finally get to the place where they ask for help, but then you know how guys are. We get there, but then it's like, well, I got it all. So this is what I always do. If I'm dealing with that, I just say, so let's really look at this. You have X, Y, Z in your life, and you've made no changes there. How's that working for you? You've had the same issue for the past 5 years, and you've changed nothing. How's that working? 5 years from now, you're still going to have the same problem if you keep doing the exact same thing. So can I make a suggestion? And if they say yeah, then free reign. But if they say no, I'm like, well, hey man, just keep doing what you're doing and don't call me at 10 o'clock when you have that problem anymore, because you really don't want to get rid of it. You're holding on to it.
You want me to make you feel better.
Yeah. You want to make yourself feel that's like I told you with people who are extremely intoxicated.
Yeah.
If I get a phone call, I'm going to make sure you're home. I'm going to make sure you're not going to hurt yourself. You're not on the roads. Then I'm done. Yeah. Like, you can call me back when you're sober, but I'm not going to sit here and listen to you talk for 2 hours just because you're drunk and want to babble.
Yeah.
Well, that's not compassion. Well, send me your phone number and I'll have them call you. Right?
Yeah.
Right? It's the old Baptist, I got to love everybody. Well, did I really just say that? I did just say that. And I do love everybody, but I don't have the answer for everybody.
Yeah.
And I think as men, especially if we're not careful, we get to where we have all the answers for everything.
And not everybody wants the answer.
And exactly. And the answer is different for every people, but we need to learn to say, I really don't know about that, but I'll find out.
Yes.
Instead of acting like we know.
Yeah.
But the big thing is, like, point out to people, well, you've changed nothing in your life, and this is an ongoing issue. Would it make sense to probably dial back on your drinking, dial back on going out with the boys, dial back on whatever it is. I'm just
playing your video games or whatever. Yeah.
I see, and I didn't realize how, because I don't play video games.
Yeah, and me either. Been a long time.
Apparently there's some men out there that the second they get home and get off work, I mean, that's their outlet.
Grown men, actually.
Grown men.
Yeah.
Like, so my buddy was telling me, like, well, she's mad I'm playing video games. I'm like, well, man, you can play a couple of, I'm like, how much do you play? He's like, well, man, I don't know, probably like 5 or 6 hours. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah, that's crazy. By the way, I should say, like, if you play, like, I don't know, a half-hour video games, I mean, I don't have any beef with that at all.
No.
Like, I'll scroll through my phone for that long.
Absolutely.
So what's the difference?
Yeah.
That's not the issue. Video games aren't the problem. But 5 or 6 hours?
That's insane.
Holy smokes.
That's insane.
How are you? Your wife? Man.
But then you can go, well, you go golf for 5 or 6 hours.
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
That's a fair point. I guess, I think that comes down to then unity, right? So as long
Hence
as
why
there's
I'm single.
understanding and
I'm going to golf, bro. And I dated a golfer, so that helped.
Yeah.
You have to have your outlet, but in Christ, outside of Christ, if you're a believer, if you're not a believer, you got to have balance in your life.
Yeah.
You have to be balanced.
Yeah.
And when you get unbalanced in one area, you know what? Golfing, if I'm in a relationship and I'm golfing 5 days a week and I'm getting home at, now the time's changed, 8:30 every single night, does that sound like a relationship of longevity? It'll last for a little bit, but then resentment sets in, and rightfully so.
Yeah, because you're picking something else.
Yeah.
You said something earlier that I want to tap into. Men right now, so it seems, and I've experienced this myself too, that we're afraid to not have the answer. Mm-hmm. We're afraid to look like we don't know something or whatever. Why do you think that is?
I think it's more prevalent now because we came from a generation before us that they did know everything.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah. They actually knew how to do stuff.
Yeah. I think we said if we could kill this generation by the flick of a switch,
Yes.
and then these older guys that know how to hunt, that know how to fish, that know how to do all this stuff and be self-sufficient, they're going to be fine.
Tap their own well.
Yeah.
Build their own whatever.
Podcast, you know.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
But no, I agree with the thought process of when you can be self-admitting, you got to be honest with yourself before you want to be honest with people. You got to know who you are.
Yeah.
What makes you tick? We have people going into relationships. I did it, bro. I went through a horrible divorce. Months later, I'm hooked up with a woman. I never should have done it. You know why? I didn't know who I was anymore. I was grasping for straws and wanted to grab on to what I had and have that unit again. I wish I had somebody like me in my life where I'm at now that could have came along, stuck their arm around me and said, Dave, and my wingman's like that. He really is. He throws on and be like, no, you got to stop, bro. Back up. Take some time. You got to take this time to heal, or you're going to carry all that into your next relationship.
Man.
And also,
What a good friend.
when you're grasping and you're reaching for things, you're overlooking everything. I say this and I mean this, and I've told this to a lot of people. Where I'm at now mentally with the lady that I started seeing during my long divorce, I wouldn't even go out on a second date with her. Because I've met women like her. The second I meet them, I'm like, you're good for somebody, just not for me.
Man.
You're not bad. You're just not good
It's
for
a
me.
healthy perspective.
And
Healthy.
like, I can't do this. And recognizing what makes you you can make you so powerful in a relationship if you are with a woman that knows who she is. Because it goes for women too. There's a lot of women out there that are like a wave, just like men. Waves tossed in the ocean, different style every week, different, this is going to make me look better. This is going to, this is going to make me happy. If they're watching the Real Housewives of Huffman, if they're watching that stuff and trying to gauge their life on that, that's not reality. That stuff's fake.
Yeah.
Dating, real relationships, okay? Men need to hear this. Guys, you need to hear this. Taking a trip to Hawaii, going out to eat and buying $500 steaks, going to the water wall, going to the beach, that's not a relationship.
Yeah.
A relationship's everything that happens in between those moments. And if you are only having those moments, it's shallow. You don't have anything. And then when it comes time, you finally have to sit down on the couch and go, I don't even know if I really like you.
Man. Which even applies to your relationship with your daughter.
Yeah.
Like one of your friends was telling you that you listen well. You know how to listen. Yeah. And so it not only applies to dating relationships, but as a man, if you can just learn to listen, slow to speak, quick to listen, and listen well, as the in-between portions of those events, going to the park or we're gonna go to the restaurant, we're gonna go to the movie, whatever. Yeah. So listening matters.
Learning to listen is an art. You got to be purposeful about it.
Yeah.
Actually, let's get on that. Let's go to. Let's take a break for a second.
Okay.